Welcome back, everyone, to another reaction video. Well, we're going to take a look at another channel that I've never done a reaction to before because several of you suggested this channel to me, and it looks really interesting. It's called The Time Travel Artist, and as of now, he's got 24,300 subscribers with 876 videos. So once again, calling on the community. If you like what you see and you think that his channel has earned it, would love for you guys to head over and subscribe. I love when we can shine a light on channels that are doing great things. And I thought this is a really unique way of looking at history. I watched one or two of these videos to get a sense of it. And he basically will take people or places or things and do kind of a journey through time, look at those things. So, for example, I watched the video he did on the U.S. Capitol, and he kind of shows what the Capitol looks like today and then kind of went backwards in time to show images of what it looked like throughout history and kind of animated it, and it was really pretty neat. So we're going to actually take a look at his video on Henry VIII's family tree. It's a little less than 4 minutes long, so this won't be a really long reaction video. I'm actually going to turn down the sound on it because it's just got music in the background, and I'm going to kind of talk over it as it goes, but then maybe also pause here and there as we go along. I haven't watched this one yet, so I don't know exactly what it is that we're going to be looking at. The link is in the description to the original content if you want to check this out or any of his other videos without my commentary. So 1491, Henry's born. Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to see the family tree of Henry VIII. His father is Henry Tudor, who becomes Henry VII. He's in his early 30s. At this point, they've already got at least one child. They end up having 4 adult children. Well, kind of. Arthur is the oldest son and becomes Prince of Wales. Henry is the second son. And then they have 2 daughters, Margaret and Mary. Margaret will eventually become the Queen of Scotland. And it's through her line that all of the royal family of first England and then the United Kingdom, Scotland and then England and then Great Britain and then the United Kingdom are going to go through Margaret's line. Mary marries the King of France briefly, but then ends up marrying Henry VIII's good friend Charles Brandon. Margaret Beaufort is Henry's mother. You can see there's not a huge gap between them in age. Elizabeth Woodville is the widow of Edward IV at this point, and Edward IV's daughter, who is really his heir at this point because his sons are dead or presumed to be dead. So this is the uniting of the houses of York and Lancaster into the house of Tudor. Henry VIII grows up as the Duke of York. He's never meant to be the king, but then his older brother Arthur dies, I think, when he's 16 years old after he's already married Catherine of Aragon, who then eventually become Henry VIII's first wife. And he's going to be a teenager when he comes to the throne at 17, 18 years old. Right after his father dies, he becomes king. His mother, Margaret Beaufort, dies, and he marries Catherine of Aragon, who is several years older than him. They have a bunch of children who die either at birth or prematurely or shortly after birth. Mary is going to be their only child that lives to adulthood. And she's going to be quite old before she actually ends up getting married to King Philip of Spain. And she's known as Bloody Mary. She's a staunch Catholic at a time when England's getting away from Catholicism. Henry Fitzroy is the only illegitimate son that Henry VIII will actually claim as his own. He is the son of a woman named Bessie Blunt, or Elizabeth Blunt, with whom Henry had an affair. She's eventually sent off, I think, to a convent. And Henry Fitzroy gets made, I think, Duke of Richmond, which had actually been Henry's father's title had been Earl of Richmond at one point. If you look at Shakespeare's plays, he's called Richmond in those. Henry Tudor is. And there's talk of possibly even maybe legitimizing him so that Henry could have a son to pass the throne to. But Henry Fitzroy will actually end up dying as a teenager, right around the time that Henry ends up divorcing Catherine of Aragon and marrying Anne Boleyn. So, well, I should say, as it says here, annulled. An annulment means it's as if the marriage never happened, which was necessary because Henry VIII couldn't marry Anne Boleyn if he was divorced. So an annulment means he can marry Anne Boleyn. And then they're going to have, so you can see Henry Fitzroy is going to marry Mary Howard, who comes from the very distinguished Norfolk, the Dukes of Norfolk, are the Howard family. And of course, Anne Boleyn is part of the Howard family, as is Catherine Howard, who's going to be Henry's fifth wife. They're going to have a couple of children that aren't going to live. Anne Boleyn's going to be executed. Jane Seymour, he's going to marry her like the day after, I think, or maybe 2 days after Anne Boleyn is executed. And she's going to finally provide him with his son, who will become Edward VI. But like his half-brother Henry Fitzroy, Edward VI is going to die as a teenager. By this point now you can see Henry VIII is almost 50 years old. He's got a 24-year-old daughter in Mary, who's not yet married, because she basically is considered to be a bastard at this point because the marriage of her parents was annulled. Now Elizabeth is also considered a bastard because his marriage to Anne Boleyn has been considered null and void. He has his marriage to Anne of Cleves annulled, and he ends up having Thomas Cromwell executed, who was his advisor who set all that up. He's going to marry Catherine Howard, who's going to cheat on him, and he's going to have that marriage annulled, and then she's going to be executed, which I always thought was really interesting, because if the marriages to Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard were annulled, and it's as if they didn't happen, what crime did they really commit by having affairs? Catherine Howard really did have an affair with Thomas Culpeper, but Anne Boleyn probably did not. So now he's got 3 children. Edward's going to inherit the throne. He's married to Catherine Parr at this point. After Henry dies, Catherine Parr is going to marry Thomas Seymour, who is the brother of Jane Seymour. So it's all very complicated. And Thomas Seymour also probably sexually abused in some way Elizabeth, who he had kept as a ward. So at this point, Henry has died. He's 55 years old. Mary's in her 30s. Elizabeth is just 14. Her brother comes to the throne at 9 years old. He's going to die as a teenager. The throne's going to pass to Mary. Then she's going to die in her 40s probably from some kind of abdominal cancer, ovarian cancer maybe. And then the throne's going to pass to Elizabeth, who none of these 3 will ever have, none of these 4, if you count Henry Fitzroy, which Fitzroy just means son of the king. None of them are going to have children. So Henry will have no grandchildren that we know of. And the throne is going to pass then to his sister's great-grandson, James, who will become James I of England. He was James VI of Scotland. So now we're going to see, I guess, Elizabeth. She's going to have her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots, executed. Mary was the granddaughter of her father's sister, executed for treason. And then, so Philip of Spain finally dies there. Now Elizabeth dies, and the throne now passes to James. So there you have it. His family tree. That's only 2.5 minutes into the video, and I've been talking for 8. But I don't know if, I think the rest is just going to be an advertisement of some of the other things that he's done. So just curious if there's other videos of his that you would find interesting to do. I'll sort it by popularity here. You can see some of the other ones. He's got various towns, and it kind of shows you what those towns look like as they evolve over time. U.S. vice presidents over time. He obviously must be from the UK because there's a lot of kind of UK-centered stuff here, which makes sense if that's where he's from. But he's also got some American cities. He's got the Arc de Triomphe through time, London through time, Piccadilly Circus, which is a really cool place in London to visit. Bunch of different monarchs that he's done things, some American presidents. So let me know in the comment section below. What'd you think of this? Do you want to see more? Obviously, the style of the videos are different. Like the one I saw of the Capitol was very different than the one we just watched. Pretty neat. So check those out, and then let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.